All right, so we're going to talk about an interesting, fun topic, and it is Taylor Swift. So I was at work. I was talking to some people, and they were talking about Taylor Swift. And this kind of young guy, he says, it's interesting how Taylor Swift gets older as time goes on, but her audience always seems like it's the same demographic of these young girls. And I responded with this thought, and I hold to it. It's not really that the demographic of people that like Taylor Swift has changed. It's not that the adults grew out of Taylor Swift and it's always these young girls who like Taylor Swift and the adults don't take interest in it. That's not what it is. You know what it is? It is that adults like this exact same stuff that they did when they were teenagers, when they were young people. Then they get older. And you know what they do? They act like they don't care about that stuff anymore. Maybe they get super busy with careers or with their families or with their other grown-up acquaintances. And, when you have a high-powered job, the last thing you want to do is go to work and be a high-level executive and then go tell people that you like to play video games because they're going to judge you, right? So you're not going to admit that you like that stuff. You're going to say, oh, I grew out of that. I loved that when I was a teenager, but then I grew up, man. I got to be an adult. And now I care about stuff that really matters. Like, look at my new pickup truck that I just bought for $80,000 so I can impress my neighbors, right? The thing is, nobody really changes. They just change the optics that they use to represent themselves in society, because as we grow older, we become more obsessed with the way other people see us, and we are less likely to be authentic and true about our own personal sense of values. And I'm going to segue straight into the notion that as we get older, we become wiser. And it's true. Moderation is good. But it's also true that there's such a thing as childlike innocence and youthful optimism and a sense of determination to represent your true self instead of being a reflection of what other people may expect you to be or want you to be. And sometimes as we grow older, we become less authentic. And becoming less authentic is not an asset. It might help you get ahead to some degree, but it's kind of like taking a music track and you take the high notes out and you take the low notes out and you just leave the middle. And maybe having a little bit less range, it's easier to equalize the soundtrack. But you also eliminate a lot of what makes it special. Because life is meant to be lived with the high notes and the low notes intact. So, as we grow older, it's important for us to also remain youthful in spirit. It's important to be true to the things that you enjoy in life and be honest about those things. I'll tell you an example in my own personal life. When I was a child and a teenager, I liked playing adventure games like King's Quest and other Sierra Online games. I enjoyed playing SimCity. I enjoyed playing Zoo Tycoon. I enjoyed playing Empire Earth. And I enjoyed playing Anno 1602. The fact is, when I was a child, I enjoyed playing the predecessors to the exact same games that I play today. My interests in gaming didn't change at all over the course of 20 or 25 years. And I could say that I changed as an individual, and in many ways I certainly did. I'm not the same person as I was when I was 7 years old or 13 years old. And yet the same genre of city builders and real-time strategy games and adventure games, the same basic interests, right? But there was a season in my life when I was busy thinking about work. I was thinking about trying to impress people, which, by the way, didn't work, because the truth is nobody was impressed with me, particularly when I was trying to impress them. If anything, people respect me more today because I really don't care if I have their respect or not, because I respect myself. And I know that my life is good. My life is filled with blessings, regardless of who's in my life or who's not in my life. Whether people like me or they don't know I exist, I really don't care. There's a few people who I want in my life, but I also value my life in and of itself. And so that lack of desire to impress people has kind of helped me to also be authentic. I am going to do the things I enjoy doing. And if that means other people don't like it, that's really their problem. It's not my problem. So, going back to this whole allegation that young people like Taylor Swift and the adults grew out of Taylor Swift. Well, no. I would say probably not. There's just maybe more young people that have the courage to acknowledge openly what they like. And in that particular case, kudos to them. And shame on all of the adults who want to go hide in a closet because they're afraid that somebody is going to judge them for having a personality. If you like something, then you should go for it. If something brings joy into your life, then you should pursue it. You're never going to live your life and then look back on it with regret, wishing that you would have spent less time doing things that you truly enjoyed. The people who we really enjoy the most, the people who are inspirational, the people that we want in our lives, they're the people who have a sense of uniqueness in a world filled with people who are copycats. It's the person who's going to have something that you can truly say makes them set apart from the crowd. That's the person you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So be that person. If there's something you enjoy, then make some time for it. We have this attitude that you're supposed to grow up and leave behind childish things. And it's true you should be responsible in your life. But it is not true that you should leave behind the things that bring joy into your life in the name of maturity. There's a lot of people doing that. And the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of people, if they would just allow themselves the freedom of just doing things they enjoy in their life, it wouldn't hurt their adult careers or professions or relationships at all. And if it does, if people leave you and they abandon you because they don't like you having a sense of personal identity, well, you probably don't need those people in your life anyway. And there are a lot of people that way. They live their life trying to measure up and compare, and anyone who's not playing that same game, they don't want to have any part of it, right? Because if somebody's always trying to figure out how they can one up their neighbor, then if they encounter someone who doesn't have that mindset, then why would they want to engage? It's like that person who goes and buys a fancy pickup truck. They're not buying it because they actually need it. They're not buying it because they even want it. They're buying it because they want to be able to measure up with somebody else. So if they find somebody who doesn't really care about whatever they're doing one way or the other, then they move on, because why would they spend time around somebody who isn't going to be impressed with them? Because they're trying to impress people. That's kind of how life is. We live in a world filled with fake people who are always chasing things that they don't even enjoy, saying things they don't even believe just because they're trying to keep up with the crowd. And in the end, those are the people who will go through their life and be bitter and miserable and sad. Because after all that effort to try to impress people, at some point you get to the end of your life and you realize you were trying to get the ultimate achievement in a game that nobody actually cared about. It's like that guy who wound up being at the top of the leaderboard in Call of Duty, and today nobody even cares, because it does not matter whether you're the top or the bottom of a leaderboard in a video game. The only thing it does is puts you in a situation where you feel like you wasted your time because you spent so many hours of your life trying to get an achievement that nobody cared about. If you're honest, nobody cared about, including you. So, if you're going to chase achievements you actually enjoy chasing. Because, in the end, those are the only ones that really matter anyway. Whatever it is that brings joy into your life, whatever it is that feels like it brings light into your heart, let those be the things that you meditate on. Let those be the things that you pursue. And even if those things seem like a long shot, even if they seem stupid, even if a lot of conventional wisdom says that the things that you enjoy are basically meaningless and unimportant, hang on to those things, because the truth is, if you give up those things, you might find that you don't really have very much left at all. Find happiness in all things that you do, whether it's your work or your play, your relationships, your love, whatever it might be. And good luck on your adventure always. Till next time. Thank you for watching.